doctorate in New Testament studies and work especially on some aspect of the Greek language. My beloved professor of Greek at Wheaton, Gerald Hawthorne, introduced me to the work of Bruce Metzger, the most revered scholar of Greek biblical manuscripts in the country, who happened to teach at Princeton Theological Seminary. And so I applied to Princeton, knowing nothing, absolutely nothing about it, except that Bruce Metzger taught there and that if I wanted to become an expert in Greek manuscripts, Princeton was where I needed to go. I guess I did know one thing about Princeton Seminary. It was not an evangelical institution. And the more I learned about it in the months leading up to my move to New Jersey, the more nervous I became. I learned from friends that Princeton was a liberal seminary where they did not hold to the literal truth and verbal inspiration of the Bible. My biggest challenge would not be purely academic, doing well enough in my master's level classes to earn the right to go on to do a PhD. It would be holding on to my faith in the Bible as the inspired and inerrant Word of God. And so I came to Princeton Theological Seminary, young and poor but passionate, and armed to take on all those liberals with their watered-down view of the Bible. As a good evangelical Christian, I was ready to fend off any attacks on my biblical faith. I could answer any apparent contradiction and resolve any potential discrepancy in the Word of God, whether in the Old or New Testament. I knew I had a lot to learn, but I was not about to learn that my sacred text had any mistakes in it. Some things don't go as planned. What I actually did learn at Princeton led me to change my mind about the Bible. I did not change my mind willingly. I went down kicking and screaming. I prayed lots about it. I wrestled strenuously with it. I resisted it with all my might. But at the same time, I thought that if I was truly committed to God, I also had to be fully committed to the truth. And it became clear to me, over a long period of time, that my former views of the Bible as the inerrant revelation from God were flat out wrong. My choice was either to hold on to views that I'd come to realize were in error, or to follow where I believed the truth was leading me. In the end, it was no choice. If something was true, it was true. If not, not. I've known people over the years who have said, "If my beliefs are at odds with the facts, so much the worse for the facts." I've never been one of these people. In the chapters that follow, I try to explain why scholarship on the Bible forced me to change my views. This kind of information is relevant not only to scholars like me who devote their lives to serious research, but to everyone who is interested in the Bible, whether they personally consider themselves believers or not. In my opinion, this really matters. Whether you are a believer, fundamentalist, evangelical, moderate, liberal, or a non-believer, the Bible is the most significant book in the history of our civilization. Coming to understand what it actually is and is not is one of the most important intellectual endeavors that anyone in our society can embark upon. Some people listening to this book may be very uncomfortable with the information it presents. All I ask is that, if you're in that boat, you do what I did. Approach this information with an open mind and be willing to change if change you must. If, on the other hand, you find nothing shocking or disturbing in the book, all I ask is that you sit back and enjoy. I owe a mountain of gratitude to a number of careful and insightful readers who have plowed through my manuscript and vigorously insisted, not in vain, I hope, that I change it in places to make it better. Dale Martin of Yale University and Jeff Syker of Loyola Marymount University, my daughter, Kelly Ehrman Katz, my graduate students, Jared Anderson and Benjamin White, an insightful reader for the press, and my very sharp and helpful editor.